As a wine student, you want to improve your tasting skills. I get it. And you want to have clearer and more precise tasting notes. And likely you have taken an online course that just promised that to you. You enrolled, you start watching the videos, and a few lessons in, you give up. Well, don't feel bad, because I'm here to tell you that you're not alone and it's not a willpower problem. Actually, recent statistics have shown that less than 20% of online students complete the courses they sign up for. Hi, I'm Isabelle Lesschaeve, your wine tasting coach. Over the past 30 years, I've trained people beginning their wine journey to professionals engaged in the industry. I train them to really awaken their senses and become more confident in their tasting skills and become the discerning wine tasters they aspire to be. So really in this video, I want to give you some pointers on how to improve your tasting skills by following online courses when you don't have the chance to follow an in-person sensory training in a central location. I want to talk about why self-paced courses leave you alone, confused, and unmotivated to follow through. I will highlight the importance of being in a different environment, a supportive environment, a community environment that really helps you complete your training in a very supportive way. And the last ingredient to your success in completing an online course is going to have access to a dedicated instructor that will help you complete the course and transform completely your learning experience. Actually, I want to share that the idea of this video came from a recent discussion I had with my online community, the Curious Palates. A student shared this story that really struck me. He said that he had signed for an online course delivered by a very prestigious university, and the course was about a wine sensory class. And he said, well, I couldn't finish it. And before I could really ask why, another member of the group said, well, I took the same course and I couldn't finish it either. So when I was able to ask why, the students shared that the course was very well made, but it was asynchronous, meaning it was on demand. There was no live interaction with the instructor, no possibility to really have a conversation to clarify points and get answers. That's what I call the lonely learner trap. Let's be realistic. The number of online course offering has increased dramatically since the pandemic. And in a recent survey in 2024, the survey found that despite this huge popularity that online courses have gained, they suffer from two things. The first one is low engagement. And the second one is a high dropout rate. People not finishing the course. Actually, even when the course is free, they found that only 5 to 15% of online students taking a free course completed the course. And when they were paying for this self-paced online course, 15 to 30% of the enrolled students actually finished them. So it's very low rate of completion. And I certainly noticed the same type of numbers in my own programs, because at some point I had to deliver them like that, asynchronous on demand, because I was not available. And I really noticed a low engagement and low completion rate. That's why I changed my approach, and I will tell you more in a minute. But what is happening is in self-paced program, learners are burnt out. They follow these do-it-yourself models that offer no accountability. So that's why this survey also found that serious online learners really turn to instructor-led courses. That's really where the shift is. But here's the thing. Asynchronous courses lack the one ingredient that is essential to your success: real-time validation. Because to learn, you need to have feedback. You need to be able to ask questions, to clarify, points that you don't understand. You really need to have a way to validate that you are making progress. You need to feel, to understand that you are moving to the right direction. And, to be honest, most wine education courses are built to share with you a lot of information. And in terms of wine tasting skills, what they do is that they tell you what you are supposed to taste in each type of wine style. They also ask you to memorize a bunch of information about the geography, the regions and the terroir. But in terms of wine tasting, what is striking me is that they ask you to memorize a bunch of descriptors that you are supposed to taste in a particular wine style, whether it's elderflower or blackcurrant. And if you have no clue about what it is, it's not really useful. And as a sensory scientist and a tasting coach, I can assure you that learning to taste wine is not about memorizing. It's about sensing. It's about experiencing. It's not theory. It's a skill development. And if you will, it's much closer to the development of learning a musical instrument. It's not about memorizing a map. It's not about memorizing a bunch of descriptors. It's about feeling the perception, repetition, calibration, and again, feedback. To improve your testing skills with online education, you need to shift from the old way. You need to move away from passively watching videos, even if they are beautifully made and, make you dream in some way about visiting wine regions, to more engaging workshops where you actually engage with the product and start sensing. You need to move away from memorizing a bunch of descriptors and textbooks to calibrate your senses, calibrate your perception. And you need to move away from solo guesswork, being alone in your little corner of the world, to guided validation. And research has shown that cohort-based or community-led programs with live touchpoints, study groups, discussion forums, if they are well designed, can reach up to 80% completion rate. It's amazing. It's at the same level as the best-in-class program using social learning. Watching passively wine videos doesn't work for sensory development. You can't learn to identify 10 to 20 different wine aromas in wine by just watching people telling you what you should be tasting. You need to practice. You need to practice identifying those perceptions in wine, which requires an active sensory framework, which requires a structured sensory training program. But the catalyst for building this sensory confidence, this tasting confidence, is really real-time interaction. That's why community-based course works so well. Remember, up to 80% of completion rate, meaning that they are effective. You are completing the course and moving the needle to the right direction to progress. In addition, student-instructor interactions significantly improve the learning satisfaction. Actually, one of my students recently told me, Isabelle, I really like, your weekly nudges to remind me that, I have to complete my training task this week. Yes, definitely this framework of learning in a community and with an active instructor bring more accountability to students. You want to follow the program because you don't want to be lagging. And having access to a testing coach to answer your questions in real time is the exact feature that will move you from I kind of get it to really I can sense this wine descriptor with confidence. Okay, let's practice. Tell me in the comment below if there is one wine aroma that you have struggled to identify in wine, and I will give you a tip in my reply. Another aspect of community-based program is the fact that being part in a community removes the fear of being wrong, of feeling that you are wrong. Because when you have regular live guided tasting and practice getting feedback, you benefit not only from your peer support, but you realize that you may have different or similar perceptions, but they are all valid and meaningful. And this social interaction actually increases your self-directed study time, like my students that I evoked earlier, and it increases your emotional engagement because you want to feel part of this endeavor. You really want to complete this course and make progress. And it's actually what I see in my community. The students support each other, they benefit from each other, comments, build on each other experiences so that they can move forward in their practice and continue to build their wine knowledge, because that's the goal, building wine knowledge through sensory tasting. So the first step in order to master your wine tasting skills and write clearer and more precise tasting notes is to stop memorizing a long list of useless descriptors and start sensing them and start being more attuned with your senses. So you need to follow a structured path to awaken your senses, to practice sensory tasting. You need to have direct feedback, not to tell you that you're wrong, but to help you further articulate what you are sensing, giving you pointers, giving you ways to train your senses so that you can be more precise, and of course, cheer you up along the way. So having a community and an active instructor keeps you accountable so that you will complete the course, you will complete the program, and you will experience progress. That's how you will build your tasting confidence, your sensory confidence, and start trusting your senses. And if you are tired of learning alone, or if you are learning in a non-supportive environment, let me invite you to join our Curious Palates community. When you start your free membership inside the community, I will take you through a 14-day onboarding program that will start awaken your senses. And every month, you will be part of a training that will help you discover one wine style at a time through sensory tasting. And you will get support from myself, from the community in the discussion board. You can ask questions and I will answer. It's really an open training space. And you can scan the QR code to join. Remember, it's free. So I would love to see you there. Conclusion: stop memorizing, stop second-guessing yourself, start sensing. That's the secret. I'm Isabelle Lesschaeve, your wine tasting coach, and I will see you next time.